For lawyers, time is limited. What if you could expand time by changing your relationship to it?
Welcome to the New Billable Hour podcast, transforming the way you think about time in your law practice and life. And now, here's your host, lawyer and best-selling author, Ritu Goswami.
Welcome to episode 23 of the New Billable Hour podcast. Today's topic is the death of unsustainable systems. First, let's take 3 deep breaths together. So find a comfortable seat, feet planted on the ground if possible, hands in your lap. Exhale everything. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. And exhale. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Great. So I'm recording this podcast in the time of sheltering in place of COVID-19. We are living in a lot of uncertainty. And this episode and the next few following, I am focusing on a theme of things falling apart and how that is a stage in the evolution of time, of our relationship to ourselves. And today's topic is the death of unsustainable systems. So, as you know, the New Billable Hour, which I wrote years ago, was about creating a new way to look at time for lawyers. Because the old way, let's call it, I did in my book, the old billable hour is not sustainable. That system that we created as lawyers served us for a time until it didn't. And of course, we can keep using that system as a tool. I did teach a workshop to some lawyers, and some lawyers said it was very helpful to use billable hours because often we don't know where our time is going. So it's good to track it. It's good for ourselves. It's good for our clients. And so if we can get ownership back of our time and our billable time and how we measure time, the billable hour is a great tool. But before we can look at something as a tool, we have to really mourn the death, mourn the death of how things were, how we thought they were, how we've been taught that we don't own our time. We don't have control of our time. It is someone else's, usually a client, perhaps your supervisor or your firm, right? The idea is we need to let go of that idea, the idea that we created, the system that we created, that our time is not our own, in order to create a new system, like the New Billable Hour. And this applies to all the systems in your life. So for sure, let's start broadly, like all the systems in society are dying, are crumbling before our eyes, like government systems, and like everybody, the way we've done business, it's not business as usual, and things have changed forever. So the systems around us are crumbling. The education system, we're trying to function in this new way, and the systems that we've had in place are crumbling because we cannot behave, we cannot use them like we used to. And that's hard. There's a grieving process of this death of these big systems because we relied on them. We thought it would always be that way. It was this comfort that we created of some normalcy, of the routines we created, of some regularity of how things should be every day. And now that we wake up each day and things are different, there's some mourning there. There's a death of those systems. And then let's look at other things that are closer to us. So our businesses, our law firms, whether you work for someone else or for your own law firm, um, you've had to really mourn how you do business. And I know for a lot of lawyers, they've had to lay off staff, and the transition to working remotely has been very challenging. The transition to using more technology has been challenging, and it's been shining a light on how we've all been practicing law and maybe the holes that we kind of left there. And so we're needing to look at that old way we are doing things that no longer serves. If we weren't equipped to be remote and to really serve clients in any emergency, we need to let go of that way and create a new way of practicing law. And so this applies also to your any procedures you had in place, any procedures you did not have in place that now you cannot live without. And by procedures, I don't mean anything so complicated, but how do you do things in your law firm? How do you um, communicate with clients, for example? Do you have a policy of how you're going to communicate and how they can communicate with you? And how are requests going to be handled? How do you start a new case? How are you communicating with your staff, especially now when you're not necessarily in the same place? So um, how do you support your staff? So all of these these maybe holes or maybe opportunities have emerged of your prior systems that were not sustainable. It lasted for as long as it did, and now you're noticing what's missing. What is missing in the procedures and systems in your business? And then, of course, in your family, right? We overlook things in our family life and our home life with our closest relationships, whether you live with someone or not. How how are you communicating with people in those systems? Are you just kind of patching things together and pretending and kind of keeping busy so you don't have to deal with the deeper issues? That's coming up. And you know, it's coming up with parenting. How do we parent? What's important to us? Um, and then finally, how are you spending your time? What is the system, the time for yourself, for taking care of yourself? And if you say you don't do self-care, that's not true, because this self, the person that you are, requires some maintenance. You must be doing something. Maybe it's not the best way to do things, but take a look, right? Like, how are we spending our time? I know I'm going through this right now. How are you spending your time, and how is your productivity? So many people are telling me they don't feel productive. And what does that mean? Could we change the definition of productivity? Perhaps looking at yourself is the most productive thing you could do. Noticing how you spend time, what are the unsustainable systems that have died or need to die, the way you did things before, of how you took care of yourself, how you spent your time, what routines were in place, what habits, healthy or not healthy, were there and now are reemerging, perhaps, or with all the busyness before you didn't pay attention and now you're paying attention. We've all slowed down, and that can make us anxious, actually. And so now is a time to really mourn the death of unsustainable systems. And the systems are on a broad level, or on, like I talked about, in your business, in your family, in your own day-to-day life, moment-to-moment life, with each breath, your relationship with time. What are your priorities? Has what you've been doing been sustainable or unsustainable? And now is the time to acknowledge the falling apart of systems that we've created, ways of doing things, structures that are not sustainable for the future. Whatever the future is, whatever is coming for us next, what has died or needs to die and we're holding on to? And what can you do to let those unsustainable systems die? That is our practice right now in these times. So I invite you to please look at your systems in your life. from your personal life to your family and your law firm too. What procedures or ways you're doing things just need to go. We can't create new ones until we let the old ones go. So that's what I have for you today. Let us end with 3 breaths together. So find a comfortable seat once again. Exhale everything. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Very nice. So I am launching a membership library, a free membership library. So when you become a member through my website, newbillablehour.com, you will access all these podcast episodes prior, and we'll keep adding them. Different other instructional videos, including meditation, productivity hacks. There'll be written material, articles, blog posts, and of course the New Billable Hour book and the PDF and audio versions. So please head over to my website, newbillablehour.com, and join our community by signing up for the library, the free library membership. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you for being with us on the New Billable Hour podcast with your host, Ritu Goswami. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you like to listen. To get your free copy of the New Billable Hour book and other resources, visit www.newbillablehour.com. You can contact Ritu directly at ritu@newbillablehour.com.